Let's move on to the next topic I'd like to discuss. That's gain staging. This is a term used in the professional studio world by people who work with sound, and not just in studios, it's also used in live concerts. Gain staging refers to the levels of volume. To put it simply, in plain language, it's not just about how loud the amplifier or the overall speaker volume is, but also about how loud the signal being fed into the amplifier is, the sound that needs to be amplified. For example, today this could be a digital file. For this you need either a streamer, an external DAC, or an internal DAC. If, for example, you connect simply from your phone, or from a computer or laptop, you need to send this signal, a small weak signal, to the amplifier, which will amplify it and send it to the speakers. Well, we know how this works in the industry, so the question of how loud this weak signal is being sent to the amplifier itself is also very important. Some people claim that it's better to turn the source up to the maximum, the source, which is this right here, the source. In this case, it's a DAC with a tube output stage, and its volume is adjusted here. It's usually recommended to set the volume control to maximum either on the laptop or the phone, and then adjust the volume further on the amplifier itself, louder or quieter. This is a partially correct assumption. And again, it depends on the type of speakers you're using at that particular moment, depending on the context. This is what I was talking about. For example, if you have low sensitivity speakers, basically some large, powerful floor-standing speakers with heavy bass woofers with rubber surrounds, in other words, they need a lot of watts to get moving, then it makes sense. Again, a good transistor amplifier, the source set to maximum, or the streamer, or close to maximum. And this will give the speaker's sound even more expressiveness, meaning more energy goes into the cone. In this case, it's almost always better. It really starts to acquire a richer kind of information. The sound is delivered more richly in speakers with such amplification, with this approach to adjusting the source volume. As for speaker systems like ours with open baffles and high sensitivity, here for the source we found that what works best is that no extreme settings perform well, to put it simply. If the volume is being adjusted digitally on a laptop, digital DAC or phone, then around 60, 70, 80% sounds great and acceptable. Below 50 it sounds simply too weak. There's truly too little body in the information being conveyed. It lacks the necessary depth and comprehensive detail to be truly impactful or informative. And too much is also not good. I found that somewhere between 60, 70 and 80% are good values. That this allows you to provide a well-warmed hot signal source, but not yet overheated, to the next amplification stage, which also adds its own character. In other words, this combination is subtle, and the more finely your audio system can reproduce such details, the more important this becomes. So that's the kind of difference we're talking about. At first glance, it may seem like these are completely insignificant, meaningless things, but that's not actually the case. The higher the resolution your system has, the more it can respond to the slightest changes in the sine wave, and the more all of this becomes apparent. Unlike with low sensitivity speakers, where much of this can get lost, including in the crossovers. This isn't meant in a negative way, it's just the way it is. Basically, the recommendation is this: try playing around with this parameter on your own equipment, and you'll notice the difference. Maybe it'll work for you. For convenience and for longer, more comfortable listening, our settings are suitable. That's our approach.